Hey, what is up everybody? This is Rob and behind me is my 2024 CX5 Select model. So I want to do something really important, and that is install a dash camera to it. You want to install dash cameras on your cars because you never know what will happen and you want there to be video proof if something does happen. So this is actually the Rexing V1 dash camera. This is probably the 9th one I've installed. To me, they've been working pretty good and the price is good. That's why I like using them. So being that this is the Select model, we will have to get a little bit more in depth with the install. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to install it. So we should also talk about the wiring before anything, and this is the Rexing kit I will be using. This one does enable the use of parking mode. You can get a basic one that's just 2 wires, one to the ground, and the other will be an auto fuse that you will go ahead and put on to an ignition fuse. That's one that is on with the ignition. With this one, there will be a third cable, which is going to be piggybacked onto a fuse that is always on, even if the ignition is off. So let me go ahead and let me show you guys how. First order of business is make sure we got all the fuses and all that correct, because you don't want to do all this work and realize that maybe you got a faulty kit or the camera sucks. So check this out. We have 3 wires. So we do have the yellow wire, which is one we always powered. So that is a fuse that is always hot even if the ignition is off. We have the red wire, which is only for if the ignition is on, there will be power, and then the ground. Ground was easy enough. I just attached it to this other ground right here. Now let's look at the fuses. So this is the ignition on one. So only when the car is on, essentially. I actually found an empty spot right here for the piggyback. So that is third from the top on the right side. So put that right back in there. And then I actually use the R outlet 2. That fuse is always on. So that one is the one I piggybacked off of right under it. Well, I shouldn't say right under it. Space-wise it is, but it is not the space right under it. It's about, let's see, 3 spaces down from that one. So essentially I used R outlet 1 for ignition, R outlet 2 for always on. And so far I've tested the camera about 5 times and it's working. So now that we have that all set up, now let's go ahead and actually install the camera. So first, we're going to go ahead and let's get to actually probably the more annoying part to remove. That's going to be just this little C-pillar. So the airbag is behind that. But don't worry, guys. It's not going to be like a TV show where you're going to take it off and the airbag's going to explode in your face. So to make it easier, I'm just actually going to start moving here. And this actually peels back pretty easy. So I imagine it'll, oh yeah, it's going to go back in pretty quick. So we're just going to peel that back, because now I have access to back here. So look at that. Now I can just pull this off. I'm going to put the camera down because I will need 2 hands. So one on this edge and the other on the other edge. And let me show you guys. All right, guys, so I got it off. So it's going to be nerve-wracking. I mean, this car is brand new. There's only like 500 miles on this one. So it was really tight in there. You really just got to get in there and just tug it back. It's pretty much going to be right past your comfort zone, honestly. So now that that's out, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and wiggle this out a little bit. It's kind of hard to do this with one hand. So looking inside, it's definitely attached somewhere that I... And no, all right. So you see this little part right here that I'm moving up and down? You just have to turn that sideways and then it'll slip out. And then that will loosen this out. So let me do that off camera. So there's a part that I had to turn sideways, and then we just have a single plug right here that's holding it in. So I'm just going to go ahead and unplug that off camera. Then as you can see, here's all the open space, which will be perfect for us because we're going to be running the wire back here and then zip tying it to make it look nice and clean. So I was thinking about it, and the best way to route it is I'm going to start down here, and I'm going to run the wire behind here. The reason why is because I don't want it to be here messing around with the ceiling. So I'm going to tuck it back here. I'm going to run it back on these wires over here, zip tie it, and then tuck it into the headliner. Go all the way to this side, and then this is where the camera's going to be mounted. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get that all going, and then I'm going to show you the finish. All right, guys, let me show you guys the wiring. So check that out. So the camera is there, and I'm running the wiring up along the headliner. I left these zip ties long at first just so that you guys can see exactly where they are before I cut them. And I have that running right here behind the plastic down to the fuse box where it's nice and neat and there's plenty of space to tuck in all the wiring. I'm going to go ahead and put everything back together, but I do want to talk about something. So the kit It only comes with the connectors with the standard fuses. Now, as long as the amperage is correct, is the same as the low profile fuses that the Mazda comes with, everything should be fine from my knowledge. But I will probably look into changing it over to a slimline piggyback in the future, just to, make it look a bit cleaner, so then it can all be low profile. But let me go ahead and put everything back together now, and let's see how that looks. First things first, let's go ahead and let's get in this piece. So remember guys, you want to first get it in there like so. And then we'll go ahead and plug in that green connector into that spot right above the speaker. And then it's just as simple as reinserting this piece right here back into here, which may take a little bit of a steady handy work. Remember, you got to rotate it and then let it turn inside as soon as it gets into an oval, and because essentially that's how it kind of keeps in there. Then yeah, I guess push this back in, so let me do that off. Okay, so now that I went ahead and put everything back together, check that out guys, looks really good, camera's still there. You will notice that you might be able to see the red flashing light because it is in parking mode right now because the ignition is off, which means everything is correct. Just time to put this stuff back together. So it did occur to me as I was putting this piece back on, I did not show you guys actually how I removed it. So actually, let's go back here. And you see that black screw. So you actually just unscrew that. And that's the only thing holding it. Then it's just some simple pry tabs. I do recommend peeling off the liner first. This liner is just super easy, guys. It just peels right off. No force or anything needed. Because then that way you can uncover these little clips here also. And yeah, then it's just as simple as popping this back in. So let me go ahead and pop this back on. And then let's look at everything nice and completed. All right, you guys, the whole car is put back together. Pretty easy, got everything in, and everything looks good. So let's talk a little bit about this dash cam. Again, this is the Rexing V1. It is very affordable. It's only like $70 to $80 on Amazon at any time. It is capable up to 4K. I do enjoy running it though at 1080p at 60 frames per second to maximize the amount of recording. It does of course have loop recording, which is nice. And it is currently in parking mode, which is when it will record in a time-lapse mode when it detects the car is on. What I do like about the Rexing kit is that it actually does also monitor the car's battery, and when it gets too low, the camera will just shut off so that it does not drain your car's battery, which is pretty nice. Then of course when you turn the car back on, it'll just come on as normal. Definitely a pretty nice option, guys. I'll definitely link the kit and the camera below. So, pretty successful install, guys. Not too hard, just had to find some fuses. Definitely a much easier install location-wise than on previous cars. So with that, guys, I'll leave you with that. And this is Rob, and have a good one.